of the mind in meditation to increase your mindfulness awareness, you start to see your whole mental processes and what happens. Where does lust come from anyway? And what actually is happening there? One of the problems is that when a person does, you might be in a nice relationship, when you do see some other person, there'll always be people who are attractive. Wow, she's nice, he's hot. Whatever it is, there will be an attraction. Of course, that's natural. You can't stop that. And just to think that I'm not going to look at another girl now I'm married. Only you, dear. I'm not going to look at anyone else for the rest of my life. That's a lie, isn't it? You can't do that. Or I'm not going to like anyone else. Again, that's a lie, because you have lust for other men and other women once you get married, once you have that relationship. So, be realistic and then say, what are we going to do about this? And obviously that mindfulness is very important, because the mindfulness sees that whether it's lust or whether it's anger, or whether it's any other addiction, there is a whole train of mental activity, a process. And it's the mindfulness which can interrupt that process at any time and stop it before it gets too bad. What mindfulness does, it's like trying to stop a train. When a train has left the station, it's going 110 kilometers an hour down the track with so much weight behind it. If the train driver tries to stop and put on the brakes because there's an obstruction on the road or on the rails in front of it, sometimes it just can't do that. It's going too fast. The momentum is too strong. A train going that fast takes maybe half a kilometer to come to a halt, which is why that sometimes there's these terrible crashes when a car crosses the railway line. The driver sees it, but it's going too fast to stop. This is what happens when we try and catch our lust, or whatever, our anger, when it's a bit too late. It's gone too fast, the momentum's too strong, we can't stop it straight away. And many of you know that, when you're in the power of lust, you can't stop just straight away. You can't just say, no, I'm going to stop now. It's like a train just trying to put on the brakes and stop immediately. It just cannot be done. But the best time to stop a train is just when it's first moving out of the station. It's only going at maybe 1 kilometer an hour. And then if you put on the brake, it's easy to stop it. So one of the great things about mindfulness is actually you can see the whole process happening. You can stop it earlier if you think it's going to be unskillful, it's not going to help you. So a man who's got a nice wife, instead of just allowing the whole process to get so inflamed that you're just under the power of lust and you can't stop it anymore, you try and stop it earlier. And that way if you see this really, really nice girl and she's really amazing, you see that whole process happen, stop it now before it gets too late. It's called just a simple restraint. To be able to stop that thing, obviously you have to want to stop it, and that's where the wisdom comes up. Just don't be stupid and think you're in control of these things. Once you get too far, you are out of control, which is why I've told many women who've had problems with their husbands that when a man gets lust, they literally are crazy. It's not a joke, but you are mad. One thing, you think you'll never get caught. You do get caught. Your wife is no idiot. She knows what's going on. She knows the signs. It's amazing just how many men have an affair and they think, I'm in complete control, it's only a bit of fun, my wife won't ever even find out. And when it does find out, then they come to me and I have to sort out all this problems and try and give them another chance, or maybe no other chance, and divorce and all the problems that comes from that, and custody battles. There is a danger there. So don't let it go so far, you go crazy and you lose your common sense. You will get caught. So are you willing to have that problem in your relationship and do that to this other person you live with and your kids? So this is actually our mindfulness and our wisdom don't allow us to go to such a point that we get crazy and we lose the sense of reality. You don't always think that you're in control of this stuff, because you know that sexuality is such a strong force. Most of you can't control it. When you get so far, that's it. And relationships just keep going on, and sometimes you know it's going to hurt. You should have known earlier, so please learn. It's not a guilt trip. We're not saying, oh, you bad boy, you terrible girl, you shouldn't have done that, and you're excommunicated from the Buddhist society for life. Guilt, again, has no part of this, because if we have guilt, then we're running through fear. We should never work through fear. We should always work through just the wisdom, understanding the consequences, and being wise and being sharp. So, in sensuality, everybody has to have some sort of restraint. In other words, it's not just some free lunch, we can just eat at the table of sensuality as much as we want, and thinking nothing's going to go wrong. We have to balance our diet of sensuality. Not too much, not too little, according to our means and how we make that decision of how much. And also, the best way is restraint for your partner. Just for her or for him, and keep it that way. And also understand the dangers there.